Hello students, welcome back to Menopause University. You should be so proud of yourself for being here. It's the only university of its kind. Do you realize that I am the only person giving an education like this anywhere? And you are the fortunate beneficiary, so I applaud you. We have finished 3 great big units on each of the diseases that are due to estrogen deficiency. The heart attack unit included videos 160 to 185. The osteoporosis unit included videos 196 to 231. The Alzheimer's unit included videos 236 to 280. And starting with video 281, we've been addressing all 3 of these big diseases as a group. First, I addressed their similarities and differences in videos 281 to 285. And then I started addressing them with regard to the estrogen window and HRT in video 286. And still, here we are doing that here in video 296. So last week, I talked about assumption of the risk. And you saw that you have to balance the risks of taking HRT against the risks of not taking HRT. And I gave you a lot of facts about both. But you know, I can give you facts all day long, and it may not make a bit of difference. And that's because regardless of how startling facts may be, people respond more to fear than they do to facts. It's not at all logical, rational, or even beneficial. But it's just a fact of the human condition and the human psyche that people respond more to fear than they do to facts. So today I'm going to talk about fear. And this video is important because it puts things into perspective in a way that makes you really get honest with yourself. This education is all about managing your menopause your way. But it's important for you to understand why your way is your way. And sometimes knowing whether your preferences are motivated by fact or fear can help you. As with some of the other topics in this particular unit, you won't find this material in this format in my book, whether you have the first edition or the second edition. Instead, you'll find individual chapters for each disease. Okay, it is a fact that every woman on the planet will eventually lose her estrogen. And it is a fact that estrogen loss causes heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's. And it is a fact that estrogen replacement can prevent heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's. So these 3 diseases are great threats to every woman on the planet. You would think that anything that affects every woman on the planet would be common knowledge, but it isn't. It is not a fact that estrogen causes breast cancer. In fact, no studies have proven that it does. But there is great fear that estrogen causes breast cancer. There is also no proof that HRT causes breast cancer, but there is great fear that it does. So here we have absolute facts about 3 horrible diseases that are fatal, and we have fear about 1 horrible disease that is easy to catch early and for which we have very high cure and survival rates. So which one influences women the most? The fact or the fear? Which one influences you the most? This video is entitled, "Which do you fear more? Breast cancer or diseases of estrogen deficiency?" And the objective is for you to weigh your fear of breast cancer against your fear of these big 3 diseases. Unfortunately, the truth is that most women don't even know that heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's are due to estrogen deficiency at postmenopause. Instead of being aware of the fact that these 3 diseases are due to the absence of estrogen, most women believe the myth that breast cancer is due to the presence of estrogen. It's all just so upside down. So that's why we're going to weigh your fear of breast cancer against your fear of these three big diseases. My goal is to be sure you're happy with your choices in the short term and the long term. In video number 285 on the morbidity and mortality of the big three versus breast cancer, we created this chart. It depicts the three diseases that are due to estrogen deficiency and breast cancer. And you can clearly see that from a factual perspective, breast cancer is less common and has a much better outcome than any of the three big diseases due to estrogen deficiency. So the fact is that it's better to have breast cancer than it is to have a heart attack, osteoporosis, or Alzheimer's. With breast cancer, you're not likely to ever get it. But if you do, you can find it early, cure it, and survive. With heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's, you're much more likely to get them and not likely to discover them early and much more likely to die. So which one wins for you? Which would you want to avoid the most? Now, you can just pit one disease against another, but given the fact that all three of the big three diseases are due to the same thing, you can get much more mileage by considering them together, especially in the context of HRT. When it comes to fact versus fear, I believe in the power of your gut. Your gut talks to you. Have you ever noticed that the first part of your body to react to stress or fear is your gut? Sometimes during consultations, I play out different scenarios for women to help them arrive at the management options that are best for them. Their gut is always the deciding factor. So let's do that here. I'll play out a few scenarios. As you listen to them, pay attention to your gut. The goal is to be sure you do whatever will make you happiest in the long term. For scenario one, let's say that you are a real health nut. You have no health problems and have never worried about getting any diseases. So let's play this out both ways, with HRT and without HRT. With HRT, you decide to take HRT, and in so doing, you prevent heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's. If you end up getting breast cancer, are you going to be glad you took HRT or not? In the scenario without HRT, you decide not to take HRT. In so doing, you end up having any or all of the three big diseases. Are you going to be glad you forfeited HRT? And what if you get breast cancer without HRT? Will you still be glad you forfeited it? You see, there are no guarantees that just because you forfeit HRT, you won't get breast cancer. The vast, vast majority of women who do get breast cancer do not take HRT. For scenario two, let's say you have a high risk for any or all of these three big diseases of estrogen deficiency. Your risk may be genetic, familial, due to your lifestyle, whatever. Regardless of the reasons for your high risk, those big three diseases are on your radar. So let's play this one out both ways, with HRT and without HRT. With HRT, you lower your risk for those three big diseases. If you end up getting breast cancer, are you going to be glad you took HRT or not? And what if you decide not to take HRT? If you end up with any or all of the three big diseases of estrogen deficiency, are you going to be glad that you forfeited it? And what if you still get breast cancer without HRT? Would you still be happy with your decision? Now for scenario three. Let's say you have a high risk for breast cancer. It may be genetic, familial, your lifestyle, whatever. For whatever reason, breast cancer is what you worry about the most. So let's play this one out both ways, with HRT and without HRT. If you take HRT, you lower your risks for the three big diseases of estrogen deficiency. If you end up getting breast cancer, are you going to be glad you took HRT or not? And what about if you don't take HRT? If you end up with any or all of the three big diseases of estrogen deficiency, will you be glad you forfeited it? What if you still get breast cancer? Will you still be glad you forfeited it? Now, I have depicted these scenarios as if taking HRT is a guarantee that you won't get the big three. It isn't. As I've taught you, that depends on aging and timing. But you can definitely use facts to decrease the odds of getting any disease. Which scenario caused your gut to clench the most? You know yourself better than anyone else does. Which circumstance will be most acceptable to you? Which scenario represented the most palatable assumption of the risk for you? In those scenarios, I also presented HRT in isolation. I omitted all your other management options. There are many things you can do to decrease your risks of all these diseases. The question is, will you do them? Don't kid yourself. For most women, HRT provides much more benefit than the other options simply because the other options require a whole lot of effort and commitment. And people are not very committed to healthy lifestyle habits these days. They tell themselves they are, and they justify all the reasons that what they do should be enough. But the fact is that most people fall far short of really maintaining lifestyle habits that make a difference. I guess it all boils down to the title of this video. Which do you fear most? Breast cancer or the three diseases of estrogen deficiency? Is your fear strong enough of breast cancer to withstand the three big diseases? In other words, do you fear breast cancer so much that you're willing to forfeit HRT and have high risks for heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's, even if it's no guarantee that you will avoid breast cancer? You see, grappling with conundrums like this is really helpful in making your management decisions. And the key is to understand that you don't get redos. You have to live with the consequences of whatever you choose to do. That's another thing people are not very good at. They love to blame someone or something else for their medical problems. The cold hard truth is that you are responsible for the vast majority of your health problems. Very few of the thousands of medical conditions that exist are beyond your control. There are some that are genetic, but you even have some control over those. So this ties in with the assumption of the risk that I discussed last week. The key is to know thyself. Make management decisions that put you in a position to say, I did what I thought was best and I have no regrets. I guess you could say that the concept of estrogen replacement is about who should take it and when they should take it, as well as whether they should take it. So that's what I'll address in the next video. Do you see how everything makes sense? That's the power of a real education. So this is where I'll leave you today. Let these thoughts linger. Listen to your gut. For consultations, you can schedule at menopausetailor.me. For subscriptions, you can just click subscribe. And for stalking me, you can go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see you in a week, my dears. Bye.